Apple is one of those companies that makes some of the boldest decisions we've ever seen in recent history, especially when it comes to advancing technology. However, sometimes I think companies get too big and too powerful and think too highly of themselves and start making very brash decisions. And I think that's what we're seeing today with the new rumors and speculation that the iPhone 7 is not going to contain a typical 3.5mm audio jack, which we all know and love. This is the jack you use for your headphones. This is the jack you use in your car to hook your music up. And this is the jack you use in pretty much every single application that involves hooking your iPhone up to external speakers. So the real question should be coming from the stockholders. With a market that is so overly saturated, such as the smartphone market, you look at this, you have Google, you have Samsung, you have Sony, you have, you name it, Microsoft, they have a smartphone out there. Any major tech player has pretty much tried to launch their own smartphone. And some of these smartphones, like Samsung, for example, are very good. They're higher quality than Apple, they're cheaper than Apple, and they're arguably better than most iPhones. But people just no iPhone, it's a brand we trust, right? Well, until now, this has given the consumers a real reason to distrust Apple. They have clearly just blown forward with their technology, and sometimes, yes, the removal of old, outdated hardware is necessary. However, the 3.5mm audio jack is still a staple, a complete staple of audio interfaces everywhere. From my stereo system to my speakers right here in my office to legitimately my car. I can use a 3.5mm jack anywhere, and I know that it's going to be compatible with everything. Even professional radio shows still use those 3.5mm jacks for some of their equipment. So now I have to ask, with you blowing down this door, is this just a ploy to say, oh, we're going to make our smartphone smaller? But really, you're going to sell us a $50 adapter to be able to even use any of the technology or nice headphones or other stuff that we already have. And I find this insulting to the consumer, to everyone that you should be listening to. Apple has a very tough time listening to the consumer. They have these visions, whether they're right or wrong, and they just roll forward with it. That's partly what's made them so successful, but that's also going to be their downfall. And I'm telling you, hear my words right now, Apple stocks have seen an all-time low right now than they've seen in the last 2 years. It's at an all-time low that it's been in 2 years. And this is going to continue, especially with brash decisions such as removing a audio jack from this iPhone 7. So some of you like when I rant, so that's what I'm going to do. Now it's on to the rant about why I think Apple is absolutely retarded and why I find their company just despicable. What's gotten them so far has been making very bold decisions and plowing forward in the industry by making certain key things. First off, they've removed the first CD drive, and there was a lot of backlash for that, but now no one really uses CD drives. I still do, but most people don't. Of course, then they removed FireWire and some other major adapters and stuff from their hardware, and everyone was freaking out at first, but now it's a standard. But I'm going to tell you why I think this is a lot different. This is because this standard 3.5mm audio jack has been around, one of the longest lasting analog ports still in almost everyday technology. There isn't a need to replace this. Does that make sense? If there was a need and this was too big, which it's not, it's a tiny little port, and I think an iPhone can have a tiny little extra couple millimeters and not freak out because of that. This is a very small piece, and on top of that, they have to have an analog converter in these phones. That's a good thing because it removes us having to have all kinds of external adapters and different garbage to make this compatible with different things. I don't want, and Apple loves doing this, they'll give you the MacBook Air, and then you have to carry a backpack full of different ridiculous adapters on adapters to make your one port a USB port or a charging port or anything else you need. Apple has taken it to the new extreme. I don't want simplicity, I want functionality. There's a nice medium, right? If you can meet in the middle where it's simple yet functional and I can still work with it, that's perfect. But the moment I have to start carrying around adapters to get my frickin' phone to work with a stereo or a car or something else, that's the moment I ditch your fucking shitty product. and I go after Samsung, or I go after any one of the other billion smartphone manufacturers to get something. How conceited do you have to be as a company to think that people are going to blindly follow you into this future where not only you use a proprietary adapter, this lightning adapter is what they want to use for your audio. That's a proprietary Apple created adapter. No one else uses that. Do you notice that? Because Apple owns the rights to that. I don't want all my audio devices to have some proprietary adapter that's only compatible with your phone. I have PCs. I have all kinds of different devices I'd like to hook into my stereo systems or my car or anything else for that matter, and your proprietary adapter should not take precedent over everyday audio devices. I'm done with Apple. I've jailbroken my phone because there's so many features, and I'm going to show you a simple one right now while my rant. There's so many features that are just really cool. You can look on the screen behind me, but this folder right here, it's called Social. It has all my personal apps in it that I don't want people to see. And when I click on it, it literally asks for my fingerprint to unlock a folder. Why don't you do that already, Apple? Why is that something I had to do by jailbreaking my phone? On top of that, I have a remote messenger. On Apple devices, you have iMessage. On your computer, you can send text message, you can send iMessages, you can do all kinds of stuff and have full conversations with a nice keyboard in front of you when you're talking to people. I jailbroke my phone, now I can do that on my PC computer. As you can see, I legitimately open up my browser, go to this website on the network, and bang, I'm in my phone and I can literally send out text messages, easy to type text messages. Apple restricts so many people from so many things. It's such a garbage product. I dislike Apple just so much, it's not even funny. So you may be wondering, then why, Loki, do you have a freaking iPhone? Well, I'll tell you, because first off, I got gifted an iPhone, so I'm happy I have an iPhone. Like, you know, I'm appreciative of my gift because I didn't actually buy this. However, with that being said, everyone has an iPhone, so iMessage has become kind of a thing that you use, a staple that you use. Group messaging is a lot easier on the iPhone. However, I presume as text messaging is dying and everyone's switching over to these applications like GroupMe or Kik or whatever the fuck else, this phone is going to become even more useless, and I'm going to be able to switch to Samsung or to one of these better phones, an Android device, a lot easier without any kind of hassle. So that's my answer to you all. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you know what to do. If you're here this long, maybe I can persuade you to leave a little like, as it does help me out. Anyway, check out the videos I'm about to show on this extra.